You can see that whenever you grout mosaic tile, we didn't realize that whenever you put it down and press down on it, it'll come up through some of the seams. So you can see that that's not the grout, that's actually the mortar that came through some of our tile. So some places it's not super consistent, you can see that, but then we have other places where it's just everywhere, as you can see. So the reason that we got to get all this out is because mortar here is super porous, whereas ceramic tile like this and then the grout we're going to put in are both waterproof. So if water ever gets on this, which is important because we have a seamless shower that goes straight in, the water will be able to soak through this very porous mortar and set under the tile, which is what we don't want. So before we can even grout this, we have to go through and get all this mortar out and then go back over and grout. So we've tried a few things. The first thing we did was we got this just flat head. As you can see, we wore it down quite a bit, a little flat head, and we tried to go in here and scrape a lot of this out. Now the problem is we were noticing as we were chipping quite a bit of tile. As you can see, like that's a bit right there. And so we're very OCD, so we wanted to do the best we could at not doing that. So then we tried using just a box blade, you know, and that works really, really well on some of the tight pieces, like right here, where you really can't, you know, fit anything else in. And then we even bought a little grout tool, but that was just scraping a lot of tile as well. As you can see, sometimes it slips and would scrape this tile. So we were playing with the idea of what's the best way to do this. So what we ended up doing is buying what's called a Dremel. This is one we bought off of Amazon, super cheap. It allows you to kind of hold it right here. And they have all these great little tips with it. And so the first one I bought actually ended up being way too big. It was a multi-pack like this. One that worked out really, really well. I set the box somewhere. It basically looked like this, and it's just a 1/8 size. So that one worked out well, and it has what's called the diamond coating on the top. You can kind of see how it sparkles there. But I wore the heck out of it very, very quickly. So what I ended up doing is I have a 2-pack of these on Amazon. I think it was $11 for the 2-pack. And so we ended up using a bunch of these. As you can see, there's the fine little tip points where you can get the really narrow pieces. But this is the first pack I went through, and you can see the tops of those. I have just used so many of them. And these right here were these. And as you can see, I broke all the tips off because I applied too much pressure. So these work really, really well. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to use any of these because they're just too thick. They would kind of scrape up on the tile, and we don't want that. So I'm only able to use about this many of them. But still, it seems worth it. So I've gotten a lot of it done, but I may actually end up having to buy those just because I'm wearing through it so fast. But the key to it, I found out, is basically you just have to hold it at a right angle. And you can see, as I was mentioning, these diamond coatings on the tip of those. And that's perfect for what you want on the mortar. So basically when you're going through, you can see we've done some of these, and that's how you want it to look. But the key is, let me find one we've been working on, or haven't worked on. So like right here, for example. So basically we have some of these that we want to go through. So the key is to not go at it straight up and down like this, but you more so want to hold it at an angle like this. You can even see where we made a little scratch there. So that is what I have found is the key is to hold it at an angle and kind of go around it like this as you're going. And so I'm going to try to position it in a way that I can show you what I mean by that. And so this tip I've already worn down a little bit, but it still has enough on it that you're able to maximize it, and that's what I mean. So when the tips are, you know, fresh and brand new, you would be able to just go and touch straight to it and start going. But in order to get the maximum use out of it, you want to be a little more careful with these because the end will start to get rubbed off, as you can see there. So there's not a whole lot of diamond coating on that one. Sorry if it's a little unclear. And so what that means is when you start going in here like this and there's not diamond coating on there, it'll lose its grip, and that's when it starts scraping up. Like right there, that's what happened, is when it scrapes up. So that's why you kind of want to hold it at an angle like this and go at it a little bit like that. As you can see, I'm holding it flush like that, not like this. and that will allow you to go through. So here's an example for you. This is when we're going through like this. You want to apply that pressure and hold it down. You can even see where it kind of came up a little bit, and then right here, I'll hold it just like that. And that's what you want that to get to a point where you can hold it down in there. It goes way down and it's super controlled. Just like that. Very controlled there. To where it kind of puffs up around it, as you can see. You don't want to just start immediately attacking. Go straight down with it. So when you hold it at that angle, like that, it'll allow it to get caught in that groove and stay right in it, just like this. And that's what you want, just like that. And so again, the benefit, like I said, of holding it that way is you're gonna get the maximum use out of each of these bits, even when the tip of it starts to rub off, which is a benefit, especially when you spend money on those. You wanna make sure you can make them last. So I recommend that. Again, whenever we do our shower wall, we're doing a mosaic tile again. While it's still wet, we'll probably go and scrape it through. But if you ever find yourself in a position that you forget to do that, doing a Dremel bit beats the heck out of, just coming through here like this and having to scrape these out, because that gets very tiring very quickly. So that is a good way to get mortar out of mosaic tile.